بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. It's another Ask a Muslim podcast, fifth one in a row. Very soon we're going to put a link if anyone wants to join us. But let me greet you with the best of the greetings. May peace and blessings be upon God-fearing. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. How are we doing today?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you doing?
You guys been on a mission. I haven't been, so I'm quite fresh. I'm quite fresh comparing to you. So let me just post a link, and if anyone wants to join us, that's it. Link is posted. If anyone wants to join us, come and ask us a question, speak to us, criticize us, say some positive things about us as well. We don't mind. Don't flatter us too much, because then our egos can get blown, and that's not good for anyone. But let's start with the best way, the way the God-fearing people do start. In the name of God, the most merciful, most gracious. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam wa rasulillah. And may peace and blessings be upon the last messenger to humanity, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So until, or if anyone doesn't come, or until someone comes, we can maybe today discuss a little bit about atheism. How does the Muslims, how do we deal with atheism? Because everyone in this modern society, when people are engaged in schooling systems, they are learning certain things within presumptions that they are leading to atheism, let's say evolution or science, and all of that is they would believe is truth finding ways. They'll bring you facts, and because of that, we don't need religion. We don't need to make things up. So these assumptions are quite popular. I myself, I used to be an atheist and an agnostic. I was brought up in ex-Yugoslavia. Was kind of a socialist communist system where they're teaching you strict atheism, and there really no one is getting engaged in any kind of religious beliefs. So as a Muslim, if you would meet a atheist, how would we, brothers, address him? How would we even start conversation with him? Anybody? Or should I talk to myself?
For the brother Hasana to start, inshallah.
Okay.
Let's say, shall we play a game? I'm an atheist, so you ask me. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Yes. Or you want to play the role?
We can do it this way, or you can give us some advice how to kickstart the conversation with an atheist, so we can then build up on that, I believe.
Yes. Subhanallah, I agree with you. I grow up. I see in my education system the exactly same thing. So I had a question. I used to ask our, Maulana, so-called Maulana, everyone. School teaching us this, and he was telling us we came from Adam, and school teaching us we came from monkey, all sort of things. So they couldn't answer me, and I blame the school education because of the teaching system is making all the this youth, making them atheists, agnostic. So I was like one of them. So when anyone come, I know how, I can see myself to my reflection on them, you know. So
in your youth, you've been influenced by the schooling system.
schooling
Start
system,
believing, and this is very important for us to understand. Sorry, brother, to cut you off. I just want to a little bit maybe get interactive, because everyone who has a family has a children, or potentially he will have a wife and children. So you will put your children through a system. They will start educating them and fairly giving them certain informations. They may be falsely presented to them, because science should not lead you to atheism. We should make a distinction between what science leads you to, because science doesn't lead you to the truth. This is a very important point that we need to understand. Science does not lead us to the truth. It only leads us to the best explanation at the moment. Because if science would lead you to the truth, then it would beat its own purpose. It would stop working. Yeah? Now, getting, or shall I say, counting things and getting, observing things, it's not really a science. That's just empiricism, that it's used in a science. So when you say, oh, but it's scientific fact that water is H2O, you are just observing things and counting. You're not putting no theory forward. Yeah, so we need to understand this. So scientific method involves observation. Observation itself is just part of science, but it's not the whole science. What we are talking about here, things like purpose of life, how did we come to be, how are we created, and so on. There is no truth in their theories, their proposals put forward. They are the best explanations at the moment. And there's always a chance that a new set of observation will change the current state, the current belief that science is pushing forward. So for this reason, science deals with the beliefs, yes, but it deals with it with an empirical way. So they will put forward certain set of criteria, and then they will come to certain conclusions, but it doesn't mean that now new information will not change that conclusion. So it's keep on evolving. If you want to talk about evolution, we should talk about scientific evolution, not evolution, or should I say evolution of science. Science is evolving all the time, so it's not really seeking the truth, it's just seeking the best explanation. Yeah? So with the religion, with the faith, with the religion, we are stating a fact, a truth fact. So when I say God exists, I'm not proposing that God may exist. I'm making a factual statement. So now, when I'm saying God is one, again, I'm making a factual statement. Now, I can use certain scientific methods to prove it, but those will be only assumptions based on philosophy. Every scientific theory is based on philosophy, because you need to make presumptions first and then look for evidence. It's not like, just for people to understand, it's not like someone found one bone somewhere in a desert or in a jungle or something. Due to this bone, now I have all this theory. No, I need to put the theory first in, and then I'm trying to collect certain evidences. Then I'm observing, can I prove my theory or not, and so on. So it's a bit more complicated than the school system usually is presenting it. Yeah, so just want to put this forward. Sorry, Achi, that I jumped in, because schooling system is really, it's a good thing. They're going to teach your children how to read and write, and about history and whatnot. Yes, selective history. They're going to most of the time teach you about white man's history and whatnot, but still you're going to learn something.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. Subhanallah. So, Alhamdulillah. So now, if anyone come in the Dawah stall, ask me, or tell me I don't believe God, I simply take it out my phone. I ask them like, if I tell them like, if I said to you guys, this phone, no one made it, no creator, no maker, no designer. What are you going to say? So they say, no, it's not possible. So I said, look, our body is more complicated than this phone. Our fingertip, look at our fingertip, look at our eyes. It's so unique. Look at our walking style. Everything is so unique. So we start carrying on. Obviously, I was going to tell you the story about my life, but I started different things. Yeah. So this is the way we start asking questions to atheism. If anyone atheist come, so we want to see how their heart is. Is their heart ready to accept the truth? So if they're corrupted heart, he will say, I don't want to answer it, or he will say something else. You know, you're not gonna answer the question I'm asking. So if somebody sincere, he will say, no, someone made this phone. So
Yeah, but what if they claim it came up by chance? Like, if you give enough time, you know the way these new age atheists speak. If you give enough time, then yes, it may happen.
It's these things, Brother Yakub, he can explain very nicely.
I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate. I'm making it hard on you, yeah? Well, I'll be putting these kind of questions in. So, Brother Yakub, okay, so now we have an atheist who doesn't want to accept, let's say, that something has a designer, that they won't accept, let's say, fine-tuning argument, because that's what basically is when you point to a design, you say, look, there's a fine-tuning, everything looks so precise, it's not possible for it to come by a chance. But what if I still claim, yeah, but if you give enough time and millions of years, you don't know what time does. How would we deal with that?
Well, I kind of like deal with it a bit differently, because I mean, like today, like most of the people that we spoke to, they said that they believe in something, or they'll say, do you believe in a creator? They'll say 50-50, so they're not sure. And the person who claims to be an atheist, and the reality is either he's not sure, or she's not sure, or it's some kind of emotional reason, why they've rejected God. So you have people who they may have lost a loved one, from some kind of disease or cancer or something.
It's called problem of evil, so we can deal with that. So problem of evil is a separate topic, so we can deal with that separately. So if someone, let's deal with the fine-tuning argument first, and then we're gonna maybe deal. I just want to put everything in its own drawer. So if someone comes, you represent him with a fine-tuning argument, and that person is refusing it. How do we deal with that? How do we try to? Of course, we can't force no one to believe what we are telling them.
The fine-tuning argument, I mean, it's like it's quite simple actually. I mean, there's a verse of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that. Let me just bring it up because I'd rather get the references. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It's where he deals with how he created the universe. Is that the one? That everything was one and be separated. Would not the unbeliever see that heavens and earth were one?
No, actually, it's a different one. It's Surah number 52, which is Surah At-Tur, and it's ayah number 35 to 37, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he says in the Quran, or were they created by nothing, or either their own creators, Or did they create the heavens and the earth? In fact, they have no certainty. Or do they possess the treasures of your Lord? Or are they in control of everything? You know, there's a lot there, you know, that a person can really think and ponder deeply about the origin of the universe. You know, I mean, we know logically, you know, things can't come out of nothing. So I would say to this person, look, when we do our sciences and experiments and we make our discoveries, we realize that there's systems. Everything we say, there's a system. We can measure it. We can do mathematics. You know, day, time, seconds. You know, even the human body, the organs. Everything is a system. You know, so I will say to that person, I'll say, look, even the fact that when you talk about DNA contains information. Like literally, it contains information. You know, so I will say to the person, all of this. If you keep pondering about every single thing, it points to a designer. You know, and if they say that, like, that it couldn't happen by nothing, well, if you have nothing, then you're going to get nothing. Now we know that the universe at the beginning, so there was something at the beginning, and it didn't start itself because the universe doesn't contain any intelligence. It can't control itself. If there's an explosion, brother talks about mobile phones, and the raw components of a mobile phone you can find in the desert, which is sand and crude oil, where you get silicon chips and plastic and glass. These are the raw components, right? So if I was to say to the atheists and say, look, if there's explosions over billions of years, would there be a chance of that out of one of those explosions you'll get a mobile phone perfectly formed? And then you got to deal with the information at the operating system. You're not going to get that from chaos. You don't get systems and design and order from chaos. There has to be a designer behind it. The one who designed it, formed it, and shaped it. In fact, this is one of Allah's names, which is Al-Bari Al-Masawir, Al-Khaliq, the one who creates, the one who shapes, the one who fashions, the one who designs. And I think that's the way I would deal with it.
What if they keep on pushing the notion of, oh yeah, but if you give enough time, then of course we see that they are stubborn, they don't reflect upon what was said to them. And then we need to show them one thing, that what they are doing is they are making time into their God. Because they're going to say the miracle may happen, because let's simplify it. The whole point is, how do we get from chemistry a biology? That's what it is. From a dead matter or from dead chemicals, how do we get some life form, something biological? And they tried abiogenesis. They tried in 50s, was it end of the 50s or beginning of the 60s, some experiments, and they failed miserably. There was nothing that they can do. They tried to recreate that, the primal state of the universe in a lab, and they couldn't get nothing, because from chemistry to get biology, that's where the issue comes. Yeah, so now you're telling me, yeah, but you need time. So now you need to try to make a person understand what he's saying. You have a dead rock in your hand, and you're telling me if I wait long, it's going to become alive. That's how simple it is. So sometimes we need to simplify it, because what they think when you make statements of science and you just need to give time, they're thinking that something is moving, something's happening, but it's very slow. But if you make them realize that, look, I'm holding a rock in my hand, has no biological facts in it, there's no life form in it. How will this become alive? Yeah, it may move if it's going to be an earthquake, but how is going to... And then further on, how is going to have a will to start determining something? So even if something is alive, where do you get the will? So one of the things I would point out that I like to do if I get deeply within a conversation over the fine tuning and whatnot, I would ask them a bit complicated question, but it's really a simple narrative. The question may sound a bit complicated. Can something that it's not and it doesn't have capability to be, can it become? So now the question sounds quite complicated, but it's literally saying that can something physical, material becomes alive? Can something without a wisdom becomes wise? Can something without a knowledge gain knowledge on its own? These are magical properties. What we are talking about, the chemistry became smart. How can you get justice if justice didn't exist? So if something is not, so something doesn't exist, and it doesn't have a capability to exist, then it would never become. So if you look at the rock, just a pebble or whatever on the street, you can see, you can ask them, can this fight for a justice? How do you get the concept of justice at all? Forget about moving around. Let's say if we have enough time, it's gonna become alive. From this rock, I came to existence. What are you telling me? It doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't have, if it's not, and it doesn't have capability of justice, the justice will never exist. Yeah. So if it doesn't have capability and it's not smart, the knowledge will never exist. So now what do we have? We need to have a source of knowledge. We need to have a source of life. We need to have a source of justice, even to talk about these concepts. Yeah, so sometimes when people say something can come out of nothing, they're redefining the word nothing itself. Does nothing should mean absence of everything, the complete absence of everything. Then we can start looking into different arguments. But beautiful argument, Quranic argument, Brother Yaqub, that you mentioned. It's really a deductive argument. Is putting forward the options you have. Either you came out of nothing, you create yourself. Now 0 plus 0 plus 0 will never be equaling 1. You will never get the number out of, no matter how many zeros you add. Then he's giving you another option. Have you created yourself? Now Brother Hamza Torsis has this beautiful, a bit ugly analogy, but it works. He says, imagine mother giving birth to herself. It's not logical. You need to not exist and exist in the same moment for this to happen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there in Quran is giving you beautiful deductive argument. He's deducing your ideas. Have you created yourself? I can't give birth to myself. Have you came out of nothing? Or do you have a maker? Do you have a creator? So when you look at these things, certain Quranic verses point to fine-tuning and whatnot, but this was really a deductive argument that should work for anyone who is unaware what atheism leads to. Atheism leads to absurd ideas. They're gonna say, atheists most of the time will say, "Oh, we don't believe in fairy tales and whatnot." Yes, you do. You believe in magic more than I do, because you are saying from nothing certain things are happening, and I'm saying no, because God is not nothing. So there is a source of all of this. So I believe less in magic than you do. Yeah. So if you turn the tables around a little bit, and you literally tell him, "Oh, if you wait a lot, if you wait long time," but excuse me, do you believe in magic? So you turn the tables around with that person. Then you can start hopefully engaging a bit more with them, and they maybe, inshallah, they will reflect upon their position a bit better. Then, Akhi, you mentioned the problem of evil. A lot of people will stop believing in God because something bad happened to them, or they will have doubts, or they will stop believing in certain religions or whatnot. Oh, but it's not fair, it's not just because my, let's say, goldfish died. and I like my goldfish. Let's take a silly example, but anyone in life has lost some loved one, or something unjust happened to them, and they're going to say, look, if God is all loving and he loves us so much and he cares for us so much, why is this happening? So how would we deal with these, brothers?
Before we move on to that point, I just wanted to share a couple of more things, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm moving too fast. Forgive me.
No, alhamdulillah, it's okay. I just wanted to share a couple of things. I mean, there's a famous scientist here. His name's Sir Francis Bacon. I don't know if you've heard of him before, but he's quite popular. He's old from the back in the days. He said that little knowledge of science makes you an atheist, but in-depth knowledge of science makes you a believer in God. So I think that, you know, when a person gains, like, you know, the little knowledge in anything, it's quite dangerous, you know, because you don't have the in-depth knowledge. Even when it comes to like religion, when you have the basic knowledge and not in-depth knowledge, you know, you start believing in all sorts of crazy things. So I think that it's important that people who claim to be atheists, yeah, they need to really think logically and reasonably, and think to like how all the things that you mentioned. You know, mashallah, Allah bless you, knowledge, I mean. And also another like website I want to share with the people, if there's anybody who will watch this video afterwards. There's a website called The Descent from Darwinism. You know, where so it's called the Descent from Darwin, the Descent from Darwin.org. So this is a
If you can type in, if you type it in private chat, I can share it and people can see
yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah.
People can see this. Then
it's called The Descent.
There's some people in my language asking me if I'm not on YouTube. I am on YouTube, but I'm not on Beetle Nevity channel, guys. I'm on Just Muslim channel. So please, because I see a lot of times I have thousands of views on my Facebook, despite me having a English stream, but then there's not that many views on YouTube. So come to YouTube channel Just Muslim Dawa. It's one word, Just Muslim, one word, and click on it, subscribe, share, please, like, and so on, follow us. That's my work with the brothers. I have joined them recently. Alhamdulillah, what we do here now in UK. So yeah, have you put it in a private chat? Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you do now, I'll just say that this is like thousands of doctors from and scientists from around the world who have signed this statement publicly, saying that, you know, they don't believe that, you know, the Darwinism is the natural selection is the result for the complexity of life. They, in fact, they believe that that's not the right way. You know, there has to be a creator, there has to be something. You know, so many scientists are jumping aboard on this fact. You can read that what it says, you know, on the page.
Yeah, this is the website, and we have here statements. We have some videos as well. Statements of the scientists. Yeah, mashallah, barakallahu fiqh. So scientific descent from Darwinism. I can address Darwinism a little bit as well. Probably not as much as info that you can find on this website, but yeah, it's well known that Darwinism is not a fact, despite being taught in schools like it is.
Yeah, so I wanted just to share those things with you, that, you know, a lot of people think that another thing is that ignorance is bliss. You know, so if you ignore something and then I mean, mainly is to do with following your whims and desires. You know, people come up with the thing where religion, like, you know, controls people. People don't want to be in control. They don't want to be controlled. You know, they think that, you know, the things that they want to do, which is they're following the whims and desires. They believe that if they start to believe in something, it'll stop them from enjoying their life. the fact that, you know, that's quite the opposite, really. You know, whatever boundaries are in place are there for a reason, to protect people and to protect children, because, you know, one of the things that the Islam protects is the family unit, you know, which is something that is very important. And you have children, and the children need a stable home. They need parents, and, you know, and they say that most of the people that are into crime and stuff from broken homes, you know. So this is something that is highly looked upon in Islam, that, you know, that how you deal with your husband, how you deal with your wife, and they have rights. You know, your children have rights. But the people, you know, they cling on to atheism because they don't want to stick. They don't want to stick to one partner, or they want to have girlfriends, or they want to, you know, go clubbing and, you know, have fulfill their desires. But at the end of the day, even when following this path, they don't find happiness. You know, they don't find peace. You know, and it's like one of the verses of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that, you know, the only way that someone's going to find peace is when they submit their will to Allah, and the remembrance of Allah is where the heart will find peace. So I just wanted to end that on that part there before we move on to the problem of evil, and if the brother wanted to add something on to it as well.
I'll get back on Darwinism now because you opened the topic. So, but brother Abu Amir, you want to add something? I have something to add now.
You continue, brother.
Barakallahu feek. Okay. There's a couple of assumptions that people make when we speak about evolution, Darwinism, and science. First of it is that all came from atheists, secularists, and they know everything. The empirical systems and whatnot all came from now New Age, I would say Enlightenment period, from the moment that Europe got rid of Christianity and kind of imposed the secular rule on their continent. But sadly, for those people who believe so, that's not true. Luckily, it is, let's say, Ibn Haytham, Muslim theologian who is known as the father of scientific method, who has established the principles of scientific method today, that you need to test things. Empiricism, that's from Ibn Haytham. You can find his name on UNESCO site as one of the founders of scientific method. Within Islamic Spain, what was happening, the progress that happened there, or regarding the science, it is still, I would say, one of the reasons of, not still, it was one of the reasons of Enlightenment period, and then Industrial Revolution in the Europe and in the world. Yes, Muslims, we are a little bit at the back foot last couple of 100 years, but we haven't been until recently, and the history, we know it flies by very quickly. So it's not like Newton was an atheist, and even Darwin wasn't an atheist, by the way. If you know, guys, whoever has not looked into details enough, that Darwin has himself published the second edition straight away after he's seen that his first edition of his theory was taken by an atheist society. There was a gentleman called Julian Huxley. Sorry, his grandfather, Julian Huxley, was the first director of UNESCO, who is responsible for writing first curriculum. Because after Second World War, we have now UNESCO, and we have United Nations, and now we have kind of a unified curriculum, what we're going to teach children in a school. So he's the one who has put inside Darwinism, or he's responsible for Darwinism to be taught in a school the way it is. Now, Julian Huxley has wrote a book called Religion Without Revelation. He spoke about using Darwinism as a way of explaining things that you don't need a religion now, and there was not a revelation. So, but literally, he's teaching Darwinism as a religion, because for you to be able to prove something that happened the way they suppose billion years ago, you can't. There's no witnesses. There's no empirical evidences. You can't test it. You can't create life from non-life in a laboratory. It's impossible to do these things. Yeah. So Julian Huxley's grandfather, I forgot his name. He lived in a time of Darwin. So when Darwin published his book, he used it to say, aha, you see, you don't need God. So straight away, a year after, Darwin has published a second edition in which he has written down, now hear me out, he has written down, it doesn't take away from the process to be guided, breathed in by the Creator. So whoever is trying to use Darwinism as proof of we don't need God, no, it's just a process. It doesn't mean, first of all, we don't believe in Darwin's theory. We believe in creationist theory, of course, but Darwin's theory doesn't take away from creator being at the back of it, using certain processes. So later on, Darwin became more of agnostic than an atheist due to problem of evil that hopefully we're going to address a little bit later on. Yeah. So Darwin himself, he wasn't an atheist. When atheists try to use his own theory to support their ideas, he straight away published a second edition in which he has clarified that. He has put this in a note, so it's in his book. What was the name? Origin of Species. It's the book that Darwin wrote. Yeah, so straight away second edition after that. Yeah. Now, why do we teach it that way? Because a person of Julian Huxley, who was the director of UNESCO, I'm just repeating myself to establish the firm points, he's responsible, or one of the people who are responsible for the first curriculum, and he himself has wrote books on religious matters, because saying a religion without revelation, it tells you a lot. So he was saying, okay, so we need to believe in this religiously. Michael Russo, he passed away this year. He was an atheist. He wrote a book, and you can see it. It was published in Oxford Press. Darwinism as a religion. On brother Sabur Ahmed's YouTube channel, if anyone follows him, you can see he even had an interview, or there was some kind of a debate between a couple of biologists. But he's an atheist. He has wrote a book, Darwinism as a Religion. Now, Richard Dawkins himself, who is kind of a biologist, or at least he used to be a proper biologist, he admitted in some interviews that he's using Darwinism as a fact of disproving God, even that he knows he doesn't. But he says, as long as people believe in it, why wouldn't I use it? So he knows he's deceiving. He's a little bit like a Paul version of in Christianity, you know. He says to everyone what they want to hear. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, as long as it's going to bring people to what he believes in. So he admitted this publicly. You can see videos online, especially on Brother Sabur Ahmed's channel. If anyone wants to understand these things a bit better, I'll just highlight one more thing. One very, very interesting thing. When people tell you, I don't believe in religion, I believe in science, because science is based on facts, and there's no empty beliefs, and everything is like a strong, I can hold in my hand, and I can, verify everything what I'm saying and doing. To start with, if you want to do science, you need to believe in certain things before you can even start doing scientific method. In things that you cannot scientifically verify. There are at least two that I know of. There could be more. Brother Sabur Ahmed, he has pretty much he's my beacon of knowledge in this subject, because he has finished a master's in philosophy of science and in philosophy of biology. So I took this knowledge from him. So I'm not like speaking out of my own whims and desires. So there are two things that I know of. Could be more. We should ask him if there is more, but at least two things. So one of them is that the future events will replicate. The historical events will replicate in future. If I want to do science, that means I have done some kind of a test in a lab. So I need to believe that in the future will replicate 100% same. Because if I need to all the time continue repeating from beginning, all methods of everything, so what that means, I need to believe in a testimony that someone has done certain experiment, and I need to then believe in future will literally replicate in the same way. That's a belief. Second belief that we have is that I have cognitive capabilities to come to the truth, that I'm capable of understanding. I can't prove that scientifically. I need to believe that I'm coming to the right conclusions. These are beliefs. Yeah? So before anyone can do a tangible science within a laboratory, they need to make philosophical ways of how they're going to deal with science, what they're going to do. And philosophy you cannot put in a lab. You need to put certain methods. You cannot test them. You can work with them, but you cannot test them in a lab. Like maths is one of the things that you cannot scientifically prove, but we use every day. There are quite a lot of things. That's the third thing now. Yeah, scientifically, you cannot prove, but you use every day. Maths. How can you put number 1 in a lab? Number 3 in a lab? Show me. Oh, you can. That's a concept. Math is a language that we use to explain certain things. I have 3 apples. I understand what 3 means, but put 3 in the lab. You can't. Yeah. So when you start understanding this, and when you show people who are saying, "Oh, we believe only in science," yes, you have empty beliefs. I'm not saying math is not true, but look, using maths, I can let's say prove Tawheed. It's one of the good arguments that I like to use when I speak to even Trinitarians or to atheists who may make a statement that, okay, who created God, and if God exists, then who created God? It created God, and so on. So you tell him, look, even math wouldn't exist if number 1 doesn't exist. You need to have number 1 to even do maths. So even if you want to divide the number 1, you need to still understand what 1 is. Ahad. Ahadun ahad. Without 1, you don't even have maths. The language of logic would not exist if you would not understand the concept of 1. Even half, you need to understand what 1 is to half it. Yeah, to cut it a half. So even through maths, we can show and people why Tawheed, why believing in one God, why the 1 is a source of everything, could be shown through the maths. But yeah, so for me not to go too far into my exercises, but yeah, so what we need to understand, first of all, let me just kind of simplify everything. What we are learning in a school was put together by a bunch of atheists who are misrepresenting the scientists themselves. Once we understand that, then it's much easier for us to deal with any other false assumptions about religion, or you believe in something you cannot prove and whatnot. But look, You can't prove you can use your faculties, you can come to right conclusions when you do science. How you gonna then? You can't prove mathematics. How you gonna then deal with these things? And so we need to try to create a level playing field with an atheist who are atheists because of the science. Because then once they understand they have empty beliefs, as much as anyone else, they rely on philosophy, and philosophy you cannot put in a lab. They rely on thoughts. Not everything you can put in a lab and count and verify and break down. So then we create a plain level field, and then we can start building on understanding why we need to have a source of everything. Yeah? Why do we need to have that one in maths to be able to even do anything else? So yeah. Brothers, anything else you want to add on this, or shall we go to the problem of evil?
I think, mashallah, covered quite a bit there, but for a lot of people we speak to in the dawah, they're very simple, and some of the simple analogies they work really well. You know, like I just wanted to just share this with you. Like today, we spoke to someone who said they wasn't sure that they believe in God, and I gave a simple example where I said, look, if you see footsteps in the sand, would you say that they made themselves? You know, you can give many examples, and they normally say, look, yeah, these are someone was here. So I said these are signs that someone was here, right? So just as the footsteps are signs that someone was there, you know, you and me and everything around us are signs of a creator. You know, and that's just something simple like that can make someone think, you know, that makes sense. You know, that I didn't think of it that way, but really, I am designed. You know, this earth is designed. And another thing I just thought of right now was, like, for example, I only found this out recently, and we got Google so you can search. I've never really understood why we have worms in the soil. Yeah, it's just a random thing. I'm just sharing with you. Yeah. So I went on to Google and I said, look, what's the purpose of having worms? You know, why do you have worms? So the worms in the soil, they create these little holes where if they were not there, then the water, when it rains on the soil, it would stay at the top. So
They soften the earth.
no, you know the worms.
Yeah, but they create this buffer zone, soften the earth so it can, because
They actually make holes in the soil, and they so when it rains, yeah, the soil, the water doesn't stay on top of the soil. It soaks into the soil to reach the roots.
Yeah, mashallah, this one, the way I think it's like they soften it, so
They soften it. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because they penetrate things through, so then the water
that's
goes
right.
through, it channelizes.
So
Mashallah, I never thought about it.
So the reason why I mentioned that is because I remember once, like, my mother told me to water the plants here, and while she was away, and I put too much water on the plants and they died. So I was thinking to myself, you know what? If you don't water them enough, they'll die. If you water them too much, they'll die. And then you got the worms in the ground, which are softening the soil, so the water seeps into the earth and reaches the roots. You know, just simple things like this. If you just think about it, ponder about it, like, you know, how did that happen by itself? You know, everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason for being there. You know, everything is connected. You know, so how could you not believe that there's a creator? I just wanted to just share that. Just a simple thing with you, and hopefully someone that listens might, it might make them understand, and believe in God. Hopefully.
Mashallah. And if we look into Quran, and subhanallah, there's so many evidences, especially when we talk about fine-tuning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, think about it.
Yeah. Do reflection.
Have a look in the universe. Have a look into yourself. Think about it. What is the purpose of like how you're created. It's keep on motivating you to think. Like a lot of atheists think that religion is just, you need to just blindly follow and whatever they tell you, and there's some man on the cloud and whatever. They had these perceptions because they had a bad experience with where they were brought up within their families. No, it's not like that. Read Quran. Read what is revealed and preserved from God Almighty directly to humanity. At least accept our claim. We are saying that's what it is. Accept the claim. Take the possibility if really is true. Investigate and have a look into it, because Quran is motivating you. Even like previously I mentioned the bit that can easily be explained as a Big Bang, easily, like one prime million and then separation, and then there are many verses speak about how universe is expanding, and there's many things that we can find within science today, proven science. We can look into it and we can see how would be even possible that uneducated a person, illiterate man in the desert 1400 years ago, that he would know about these things. So there's sometimes when people are so much on science and they don't understand the scientific methods, and maybe like I was complicating for simple people what I was talking, then it's good for us to show them, look, interestingly, talk about science. There are certain things that we can say that, look, you can find science in Quran. It's a book of science. It shows you, and that science today, modern science, is just one of the signs that you can maybe reflect. Maybe it is from a creator. There's quite a lot inside the mountains. There's the peaks and let's say iron coming from heavens, so shooting stars, and there's quite a lot. The clouds are heavy. That there's so much inside if one wants to look into it. So even if someone still doesn't want to understand, have a look what is claimed in a book that we claim is from God. If you don't believe, check it out yourself. And what I suggest, if someone is willing to do investigation, don't just Google Islamophobic sites. Have a look. Okay, fair enough. Have a look what our enemies have to say, but have a look at our answers as well. Because Muslims have answered all of these things. Online, you're going to find answers. You don't have to just grab first thing, say, aha, this is wrong, so therefore everything else is wrong. No, please, just have a little bit of decency and investigate. If there is a possibility that there is a revelation from God Almighty directly to humanity, because we don't have a gospel of, I don't know, Mustafa and gospel of Ali and gospel of... No, we don't have that. We don't have a books of people. We have then revelation, of course, from God directly. That's Quran. But then we have stories of people who've seen as witnesses, who've seen what Prophet of God was doing and saying. That's not their gospels. They're just, I'm a witness. So we know the person, the people who were next to a prophet and what they've seen. And through his life as well, we have many miracles, many things that we can speak about through science as well, many predictions that we can see today happening. Yeah? So our claims are not baseless claims. We don't just blindly follow something. I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, let me be a Muslim now. Okay. With you, brothers, you were at least brought up in a families that you had the basis of, someone explained you Tawheed. I had to discover it.
Well, I just want to like clarify that misconception you got there. If you don't mind.
Yeah. Go on.
So, you might think that we're brought upon Tawheed and brought up in Muslim families, but I can tell you, like, I think nowadays it's probably different. But like my generation and generation before that, I speak to people like there was a brother we used to know. I think brother Abu Amir knows Mr. Bhatti. Do you remember him?
Okay.
You know from Sheldon,
Uh,
the one that used to come down with the defender.
Yeah, I forgot. I can't remember.
But
So many brothers. Yeah, tell me the story. Yeah,
yeah, but
I'll
anyway,
remember.
what he said to us, he goes,
Remind him.
yeah, so his name is Muhammad Bhatti. He used to come to Dawah with us. He was like 70 years old. He lives past your house. It looks past your house. We haven't seen him for years now.
SubhanAllah.
Anyway, I'll tell you what. I used to go to his house and after Dawah, have tea at his house and chat with him on the weekend. And one of the things he told me was, which I still remember until today. He said because when they came over from Pakistan to UK, remember he's 70 years old. He said that people were that ignorant that when they started to, first of all, they used to make a house into a mosque, into a masjid. And he used to say that the person that would be assigned the role of the imam, the one who lead the prayer, he would have to know Fatiha. So that was the criteria. So there was hardly people that knew Fatiha. So the person would not have to know the sort of Fatiha, and they were like, okay, you're the imam. That's how they pick it. And I remember like growing up as well, going to the mosque and they're teaching you how to read Quran. Other than teaching you how to read Quran, they didn't teach you anything else. Never learned how to pray. Never learned about the Prophet, peace be upon him. Even like up until the age of, I would say 25, I didn't even know that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the Prophet of Allah.
SubhanAllah.
So I'm coming from a Muslim family. Yeah, but my dad's name is Muhammad. Yeah. So a lot of people were in this situation. I traveled to Pakistan and I met people. I spoke to people, and I questioned a lot of the people, even imams in the masjids. And they don't know the answers to basic questions. I asked a few people. My question was simple. It was like, do you know, or how many pillars are there of Islam? And the people look at me and say, is it 3? So I know we're talking about atheism, but I just want to address the misconception that just because we're from like Muslim countries or have Muslim families, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have the knowledge about the Deen. In fact, when I first grew my beard, it was a close family member, the one who was the one that told me to shave it off. Yeah.
I understand that. I understand.
So it's like we are finding Islam and Allah's guiding us to it. So alhamdulillah. Nowadays it is a lot different. The generations that have grown up, they learn to read and write and they learn a bit about the Deen. There's a lot of Islamic schools now, so people have knowledge now. But I mean, back in the day, like going back, maybe I'd say 25, 30 years ago, it wasn't like that. I mean, when I first grew my beard, that was about 26, 27 years ago. Just because I grew a beard here where I used to live, people used to cross the road. I didn't even know, just come to shake my hand.
SubhanAllah.
I'm like, okay, alhamdulillah. But yeah, sorry, but you move on to the problem of evil.
It's good to know. And look, I'm coming from ex-Yugoslavia, and I don't know what was the reason for back home where you are, but I see the reasons of back home where I'm from. Influence of atheism through the system of socialism and communism. I don't know if you had a similar issue within your country. in your
Yeah,
country?
we have a secular system in school, and they don't teach you anything about Islam or about religion. It's a
Or
secular
have
system.
you had some kind of transition of some kind of atheistic system? Because secularism still it's quite soft to religion comparing to communism, socialism.
No. I mean, if you know the history of like India, what happened? There was the British rule over there, and they divided and conquered, and they split up people. And one of the things, when if you think about it, the Muslims ruled over India for or the Hindu over for 1,000 years almost, and then for them to rule over Al Hind for 1,000 years, and the Muslim traditions where education and knowledge is the most important thing, and then it turning into somewhere where people can't even read and write in their own language. My parents are from there, and none of them can read and write in their own language.
So that was a legacy of British Empire.
Yeah.
They literally turned down the education. Yeah, if people are ignorant, they are less dangerous. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You educate them.
A lot of people that are the big businessmen over there in Pakistan right now, they still sign they can't even do their own signature. They still sign documents with the thumbprint or X.
Yeah. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. Interesting topic. Maybe we
It's
should make
interesting.
a separate
Maybe
podcast on this
next time.
topic. So yeah, subhanallah, good to know. Good to know, and something that we can look into. Alhamdulillah. So shall we look in the problem of evil? How to deal with that? So Abu Amir, brother, Habibi,
Yes, sir.
problem of evil. There's evil around me, so God doesn't exist. That's usually a claim. We know it's an emotional claim, but how to deal with that?
Yeah. I'm a simple man. I ask them simple things. I tell them simple way. Tell them, look, if there is imagine if there is no illness, no one get ill. What will happen? All the doctor, they will die with hunger, in hunger.
They lose their job, right?
Yeah. So this is the thing. There is a pain. That's why we can differentiate the happiness, And from the hardship, we know. Like I'll give them example. Like when you burn for the gold, Subhanallah. Today my word is finishing. Whole day talking. Yeah. When you burn the gold more and more, the pure came out. So Allah put us in the difficulty to test us, to see who are the pure one. If there is no test, no difficulty, no going through hardship. Where the test? This life is test for us. So Almighty God, He testing us, seeing us who is the true believer. This Brother Yaqub, wanna continue? Sure.
Yeah. So simple as well. I mean, I use the example like the Sheikh Yusuf Estes. I like the example. It's simple. He said that like if you do something wrong and your mother she gives you a smack, obviously not now because you're old, and I'm talking about when you're younger. I don't think she'll smack you now. I'm just saying when children, when they're young and their mother gives them a smack for being naughty, and the child turns around to the mom and says, because you hurt me, because you slapped me, now you don't exist. Is she going to not cease to exist? Of course she's not. She's still going to be there. Just because you said that she doesn't exist doesn't mean that she doesn't exist anymore. She's still there. So when people face problem of evil, they don't understand the basic concept of why this is happening to them, and they will say that God doesn't exist, or I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God anymore. That doesn't mean that God doesn't exist anymore. It's still going to exist, and it's still going to be a resurrection. There's still going to be a judgment day, you know. But they don't question it's funny, like they question, about the existence of God, but when everything's going fine, they don't question the purpose of life. So the difficulties that people go through are to turn people back to question the purpose of life. It's a mercy from Allah, saying, and also like the brother said, if you don't know evil, then how are you going to know good and appreciate good?
Alhamdulillah. There are two things that you brothers mentioned, and this is pretty much what it is. First of all, we need to explain them that life is only a test. And the way the brother Abu Hamir has mentioned. So now many people don't understand that life is a test. Once you understand that, then everything else becomes easier, because now you understand the concept of us being created forever. And when you go to school and you are tested, if you're gonna pass exams, so then you can get certain job or whatever it is, you can't be angry on your teacher because there are many possible wrong answers that you may give. You need to learn the good answers, the right answers, for you to be able to pass. So I like to as well give simple example here. You going to in a school and you get one of these ABC tests. You need to circle the right answer, and you have multiple choice questions or how answers, how those tests are called. And then you go to a teacher and you complain, you are so bad, you are so evil, because there are wrong answers on this paper. Now, in front of a teacher's eyes, how are you going to look? So once you understand that, as Brother Abu Amir said, that your life is a test. Now, how to convince someone you're in the test? The other thing that Brother Yaqub, you mentioned, because you felt some pain, and you're not going to say that someone doesn't exist, or how you're not going to call them evil. Only making a statement. Look, just making a statement. God doesn't exist because there is evil. Defined evil. Just ask them this. Define evil. Give me definition of evil. Things that are not pleasurable to me. No God, no good. Without God, you can't even define goodness and evil. You don't have a criteria, you don't have a standard. You have your personal opinion. There are people who like pain. Yes, there are people who like pain. And not every pain is bad pain. When you have a toothache, it's a good pain. It warns you when you have certain organ failing. It's a good thing. It gives you a warning. Go see a doctor. Fix it before it's too late. So how can you even define? For you to make a statement, God doesn't exist because there is evil, you're actually making a statement, God exists, but I just don't like the test. Because how can you even say what's evil, what's good? No God, no good. Without God, you do not have definitions. Everything is a process, chemical process, and whatever, molecules and bacteria and biological processes without any feelings. Why you involve feelings inside? You want to make a moral judgment on God. That's what it is. You're saying my morality, my perception of what is good and bad. Who give you the right to even judge and make the statements of good and bad? if you're an atheist, then you shouldn't even make statements of good and bad, or everything's just a natural process. Yeah, rearrangement of atoms, nothing else, and molecules. So yeah, these two things are very important to make them realize life is a test. So our concept is, look, you can't judge a teacher because there are multiple answers, and usually when you have multiple choices, most of them are wrong. Why? So the teacher will know that you are consciously choosing a right answer, and some of them may look very similar to each other when they try to tell us, yeah, but all religions look the same. Yeah, some of them may look very similar, but you need to learn and distinguish and really reflect for you to pass the test. So now, higher you want to go, if you want to make a PhD and you want to be a heart surgeon or whatever, yeah, you need more knowledge. So higher you want to go, and more successful you need to be in this life savings for afterlife. If life is a test, then why is life a test? Because you're making a moral judgment. You're saying, oh, there is no God because there is evil. Define evil. If you can't define evil, then excuse me, shut up. Sometimes we need to be strict with them. We need to tell them, if you can't define these things because you don't feel that way, well, someone else likes this, someone else doesn't like that. Yeah, so there are things that contradict their own statements sometimes, and they don't realize it. And we shouldn't call it alternative fact. No, but there is alternative way where everything becomes clear and everything makes sense, because what you're saying at the moment doesn't even make sense from your own perspective. And what if they understand that, then you have succeeded in something. And I like to make a statement always that I believe that you can't be intellectually satisfied except in two cases: if you are agnostic or if you are a Muslim. Agnostic is the one who says, look, I don't have enough facts, I don't understand, so he's open to learn, get more facts. But being an atheist, you're making a positive claim already. You're saying, this is it. So today, what these modern day atheists have done, they have mixed these two terms, and I really don't accept that definition. I really don't accept that definition. They say I'm agnostic atheist. No, you can't be. Atheos, there is no God, or agnostic, I'm not sure of it. So make up your mind first. Yeah, you're contradicting yourself within a beginning. So it's like I'm saying I'm agnostic theist. How could I be agnostic? Either God exists, or that, or I'm not sure of. No one you hear is going to say I'm agnostic theist, but atheist is going to say yes, I'm agnostic atheist. It's contradictory statement. So you need to first hold them on principle. Either God doesn't exist, you're making positive statement, or you are an agnostic. Then I'll educate you. There are alternative facts that you maybe haven't considered. So let's deal with these things. So sometimes I do like to complicate, but people don't understand that a lot of times our statements are consequential. They're consequences of what am I saying. So if I deeply reflect on my words, then I'll see that I have to stand behind something. And today, especially in the schools, when general in the world, this education became like there is no truth, there are alternative truths. Everyone has his own truth. They don't even they teach you objectivity doesn't exist anymore. That's what they're trying to teach you. I forgot the name of the scientist. Again, somewhere in 60s, 70s, he made this experiment, and within it's a thought experiment. It's not real life experiment. Yeah, so it's like a philosophical science. But within this thought experiment, he has proven that how can two people be both right and making a contradictory statements because they have different ways of looking at it. Like if I want to try to simplify this, is let's say the car has a black bonnet and a bumper, but at the front is a white color. So I'm going to say I've seen a white car, and you're going to say you see a black car. Both of us are actually right. None of us is lying. So that's how they try to simplify it. So yeah, so everyone has his own truth. They are coming out now. So for this reason, they're going to teach your children. Look, within year 3, 4, 5, they're going to ask you, "What are you?" They're not going to look in biology anymore. So they have abandoned now scientific facts. They're going to ask you, "What are you? How are you going to define yourself?" Because the biological reality doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, that's how bad society is trying to play with us these days, and we shouldn't allow them. We should always stick with one thing. Look, does truth exist or not? So if someone is claiming that truth doesn't exist, there is only perceptions of truth, there's no point of talking to that kind of a person. Yeah, so usually if I come in a contact with a person like that, I like to use really extreme examples. Usually I like to involve them in an example. I'll tell them, if someone rapes you, is that okay? I'm not even going to say if someone rapes someone else. No, if someone rapes you, is that okay? Because the other guy or whoever animal is doing it is okay for them, huh? No, but so no, there are things that are wrong. Yeah. So if there are things that are wrong, then you need to only admit there are things that are wrong, no matter on a time and space. So that's objectivity. No matter when and no matter where someone rapes you, it's wrong. Full stop. If you can't say that, how can you then make a moral judgment statements? Oh, this is wrong and it's right, and this is bad and this is good. How can you make these statements? So you need to first admit objectivity exists. If objectivity exists, or the truth, the haq exists, then let's have a look together. What is a haq? What is a truth? And there is no other way that you're gonna land in Islam. that's a landing spot. Everywhere else you land, you're not gonna survive. So now, as an agnostic, you may be intellectually satisfied because you're gonna say, "I'm searching." But your spirituality, you're dead. Your heart doesn't find rest except with the remembrance of Allah. The way the brother has already quoted the previously ayat. But then being a Christian or a Buddhist or whatever, you can have spiritual content. But you're not going to be intellectually satisfied. You could feel spiritually satisfied. Like when I was in a monastery and I wanted to become a Christian monk in one short segment of my life, I was spiritually satisfied, but not intellectually. So the only thing that gives you balance of both is Islam, because it gives you that spiritual satisfaction that you need. Because what modern atheists today, they're doing yoga and whatever, they're trying to find something, grab on something for them to be happy, because happiness doesn't come through materialism. Even giving charity, if everything is only about survival of the fittest, the way Darwinism is teaching us, why do we even have hospitals? Brother Abu Amir mentioned doctors. Why do we have them? The survival of the fittest. Why do we care for people? He is not fit. He's going to just call an ambulance, someone with a gun, shoot him, bury them, and let's find someone else who's fitter is going to continue the work. No, we care for people. Someone is sick, and you see someone falling on the street, you just don't pass by, you don't kick him, you pick him up. What is that within you? It's not survival of the fittest process. It's fitra. It's fitra. It's predisposition that it's given to us. And it's interesting, Justin Barrett is one of the researchers of Oxford or Cambridge University, Department of Anthropology. I forgot, one of these two. and they made this research. It was decade-long research, and they come to a conclusion that babies believe in God. They're not indoctrinated to be an atheist. They are born believers. And you can Google that, Justin Barrett, born believers. And you're going to see yourself. I'm not making things up. It's either Oxford or the Cambridge University. Highest researcher. A decade-long research. So what it tells you is that they need to indoctrinate you and convince you God doesn't exist. Because you are born believer. You're born to believe in a higher power. You're born to believe in a higher power. And usually what the atheists are saying, claiming different, no, if you are born in no. And we can scientifically prove these things. So let me go back to the problem of evil. I went on a tangent a little bit. So yeah, problem of evil, just making a statement, evil, what is evil? Define me evil. And you're going to see they're going to just make some emotional statements that they make no sense. And deal with their emotions and without God, there is no good. So how can you even claim something is evil if you? There could be things you don't like or you dislike or you like, but you can't claim they are evil. By you saying the evil exists, you're actually admitting God exists. So problem of evil for you should be problem of existence of God that you are denying. If you want to flip the tables around to a person you're talking to. So yeah, alhamdulillah. Anything else, brothers, you want to add to that?
I think we are tired.
I can see you, brother. MashaAllah, Allah bless you.
Allahumma barik. Jazakallah khair for your hard work. Inshallah. Next week we'll come with the more notes and proper energy.
We'll deal with something else next week, inshallah. We should take topic 2, and if no one comes, at least we have something to talk about. If someone comes, they're always welcome. We can have a nice conversation. I would advise anyone, if he wants to have a conversation with us, to contact us on info@justmuslim.org. Private issues, questions about Islam, we'll do our best to facilitate help as much as we can. We would motivate everyone to promote justmuslim.org website as well. Share with your friends and family, and hopefully, we'll see you on the streets in your town as well. Hopefully, very soon, we'll maybe even become international, inshallah. I'm planning, brothers, I need to drag you in maybe autumn or summer, end of summer, for us together to jump in a car and go through Europe and just do Europe dawah. Just do Europe dawah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Do one mission and get some batteries for the cameras and film and maybe motivate others in certain towns and cities and countries where they are quite slow. So yeah, the most beautiful thing you can do, the best job you can do, and your brothers can definitely agree. I've seen you. I testify that you are on the same opinion, is to do the job of the prophets and call to what you believe is good for your neighbor, for your salvation. How can you have a faith if you know people around you will suffer and you don't do nothing about it? So whoever is not involved in dawah and is a Muslim and wants to get involved with us, please contact us as well. We are always open for suggestions. These brothers have accepted me so nicely. Within a month, look, we are doing as much as we can together. Inshallah, it is going to continue. Inshallah, so everyone is welcome as long as it doesn't bring trouble. Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu fiqh. With that, any concluding words, Ikhwan, brothers?
Jazakallah khair. Subhanallah. Check you can do it. Yeah.
Okay then.
Inshallah.
Okay then.
So hopefully we're going to see you hopefully Saturday again in the street.
At the moment, the working night shifts is quite difficult. I mean, I need to, inshallah, make dua for me, may Allah spin it around somehow for me again to get back on the different time, working time, and inshallah it's going to be easier. But I don't see how. I'm going to be capable of managing both. Doing dawah in the day and driving lorry in the night is going to be very tough. Only there is an idea. They have. Look, I'm quite new in Birmingham, but they have in Leicester Square. There's a place in London, and I've been there quite a couple of times when I lived in London 15 years, where people are busy in the evening as well. So they do evening dawah. They come confused, sometimes a bit tipsy, but it's always nice because it's a place for enjoyment and party for people. As long as the music is not too loud, having a stand and giving some leaflets. So maybe there's a reason why I'm becoming a night man now. Maybe we should open. I don't know if there are some places in Birmingham, there's some square or something that's happening in the evenings. Please.
I'm not very good with the, So I think me, Brother Yakub, and our team, we can find out. But no idea because nighttime we don't go out.
So, so if you stay there till Maghrib and then I take over from Maghrib till 10 o'clock, and inshallah we'll find a way, inshallah. As long as there is a will, there is a way. Inshallah, may Allah bless you all. But just an idea there. I really don't know how the Birmingham works, but if there are places like that, or anyone has a suggestion who's watching this, you can leave the suggestions in the chat after we finish the stream. The video is on. Please give us suggestions. So yeah, inshallah, everything for the sake of Allah. Inshallah, as long as Allah accepts it, we're all happy. Barakallahu feek. Okay, with that, brothers, Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you all. May Allah accept it from all of us. If we have said something to upset someone, please forgive us. All mistakes come from us. If there is any good that it was shared or done today, don't praise us. All goodness comes from Allah. With that, Barakallahu feek. May Allah bless you. Till next week. Peace be upon all. Assalamu alaikum.